You know, there were so many interesting contrasts between the older generation who left Egypt, were ready to go into Canaan, and they disbelieved. They saw the walls, they saw the giants, and 10 out of the 12 spies spread unbelief that they could enter into the promised land. Well, Joshua and Caleb, 2/12, 1/6, believed they could because God was with them. God was bigger than the giants. But interestingly enough, years later, when they had all died except Joshua and Caleb, according to the promise of God, they would have their carcasses buried in the wilderness. The younger generation went in, and two, not 12, spies went into Jericho. That's because of only two previously had a faithful response and report. Well, they also find out that Rahab the harlot, who happened to live on the wall, by the way, which walls were going to come down, had said that ever since we heard of your God opening up the Red Sea and taking down the kingdom of Egypt, our hearts had melted. And so all the inhabitants of the land, she said, their hearts melted because of the people of Israel. And here their parents were afraid of the inhabitants of the land. So not only that, when they went around Jericho, they went around the walls once a day for 6 days, and then on the seventh day they went 7 times. The walls, the things that their parents were afraid of. And they had to be quiet and not say a peep until the 7th day, when the ram's horns blasted a long sound. Then they would shout. And by the way, they shouted before the walls actually fell. That was speaking in faith. But notice they had to keep quiet going around the walls because their mouths, their speeches, the unbelief being uttered by their parents because of walls 40 years earlier had caused the whole nation to not go into the promised land. So here you see God dealing with the very problems. And you know, that older generation represents the older part of us, the part of us that came out of Egypt. We came out of Egypt, but a lot of us still had Egypt. All of us still had Egypt in us, and God had to get that out of us. And the younger part of us, like the Isaac that was persecuted by the Ishmael, our older flesh, coming against the things of our spirit, our new man. Isaac had to be freed. King Saul persecuted David, and then David was finally freed when Saul died, and David became king. The new part of us can't go in that promised land until we conquer this old, fleshly, selfish nature, and then God will bring us in.